Hey everyone, RogueGold here, and welcome back to another build video. This is going to be one for my kind of TU12 Ridgeway's Pride, Hunter's Fury, Wicked, Bleed, all that kind of stuff build for PvP. I want to give a big disclosure at the beginning here. I am pretty strictly against, copying people's builds. There was a time in the past where I had actually made a build and I was like, oh, this is going to be so cool, I'm going to share this. I think I even recorded a thing or two for it before I realized that another content creator had already made that build and uploaded their video a few days before I was even thinking of doing mine. So I would never intentionally go out and copy someone. My intention with making this build is as soon as TU12 dropped and I actually got the Ridgeway's Pride, I hadn't gotten it yet before this update, I put together my build for it that I thought would be good for PvP after the nerf of the Eclipse backpack, which, yes, that did get nerfed, and I will show that, demonstrate that later so you can see, because I know some people still aren't believing that, but I made this build, and I was like, okay, and I tried out in PvP, and it was really good. I'm like, okay, I think I can make a video on this. I went out, and I looked at as many people's videos as possible about Ridgeways that they put out so far this update, because I know it's a very popular and common build to make for PvP specifically. I didn't find anyone that had made this type of build, this layout the same that I had, but if there is someone else who has made this build already, then I apologize, and the credit fully goes to them. If they did do that, and you want to link that in the comments, then certainly do so, and I will give full credit to them. But assuming that's not true, then this is my build for TU12 PvP with Ridgeways and all that kind of stuff. Sorry if that's a weird disclaimer to give at the beginning, but again, it's a very popular and common build type for people to make right now, so I just wanted to give that at the start. But that aside, this build is really great for PvP. You have pretty good survivability. I'm using a shield on this, so that helps, of course, as you saw in the gameplay, but it has a ton of damage, and it all revolves around the Ridgeway's Pride, Hunter's Fury, two things that are very good for PvP, and then using some other buffs and talents that complement that to really give you a lot of damage bonuses that equate to being able to basically delete people like you saw in the opening clip. So it's pretty great. It's a very nice build. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. Alright, so without wasting any more time, here is the build. Like you can see, like I said, Ridgeway's Pride, Hunter's Fury, and Wicked are kind of the main, pillars of what this build revolves around. Let's start with the weapons. This one is a toss-up. I've really been liking using a Vector 9mm with Sadist to complement the bleed that the build gives, but I know a lot of people are just going to want to use the Lady Death instead. I think I have it in one or two clips of mine in here. I tried it out, I like the Lady Death in general. Obviously, it's an insanely powerful gun. I just, I've enjoyed the switch up to the Vector, and having Sadist, having that, larger mag size, just a bit more reliability with the gun overall has been nice for me, and I've been really liking how the Vector is performing, as you saw in the clip, so this is what I would recommend, but of course, if you want to use the Lady Death, you're not going to miss out, and you're still going to benefit from the Ridgeway's Pride bleed with Wicked on the build, so don't worry if you want to use the Lady Death, but this would be my recommendation if you want to try out the Vector 9mm. So that's what I have on here, just damage target cover and Sadist like I was mentioning, and then for the mods, just crit chance, and crit damage with an extended mag. And then for my secondary, I'm using the Scorpio shotgun. I literally have not used this thing once since I put the build on because the Vector just gets the job done so well and so efficiently. But, it's a nice backup to have if I ever did need it. And of course, like you may have seen in my Scorpio review video, this gun is super powerful. So it's a good secondary to have, or you can really run whatever you want. Like I said, I really haven't needed to use my secondary at all. So use what you want there. And then for my pistol, I just have the Orbit like most of my builds. Moving on to the gear. For the mask, we have the first piece of Hunter Fury, like I was saying. If you don't know, Hunter's Fury is just a very good up-close and personal set, and for PvP, it's just, it's great. The two-piece gives you a ton of SMG damage, you get some armor on kill and health on kill, and then the four-piece basically just makes it so when you're close to an enemy, you get 20% amplified damage. And yeah, you can already see where this is going. So I have my first piece of that here with weapon damage, crit damage, and a crit damage mod. For the chest piece, this is the Ridgeway's Pride, like I was saying, and I only got this a few days ago. I really did not want to put the grind in during TU11 to get it, but now that I do have it, it's a lot of fun. It's a great chest piece. If you don't know, there is a whole quest line to do in the summit to get this. You first have to go from all the way up to floor 100 and collect parts in each set of 20 floors. I think they made the parts 100% drop right now. So if you've never done Summit and you just go from one ascent from 0 to 100, you should have the quest by the time you complete 100. So it's a bit more streamlined to get it now. But yeah, it's a great chest piece, so go ahead and get it if you don't. what it does is that when you shoot people within 15 meters, it applies a bleed to them. All right, and then that complements super well with both Sadist on the gun and then Wicked on the backpack, which we will get to. And then this really seems like a good perk, but it really doesn't do all that much in reality. It's that you repair 3 to 48% of your armor per second for every enemy that is bleeding within 15 meters, and then you can see the scaling there at the bottom of that talent description. It's in concept, when you hear that, you're like, oh, that's insane, I'm gonna have so much armor regen. It's like very rare, especially in PvP, that you're gonna get that many people bleeding within 15 meters of you. In PvE, it can be kind of nice. I tried this out with an eclipse setup, and it was, working all right, but I don't think you should really rely on this armor regen at all. It's more just a bonus, if anything else. The main selling point of this exotic is that you apply a bleed on a hit to targets within 15 meters, and the nice thing about that is that 15 meters is also the range for Hunter's Fury, so, just another good synergy there. But what I have on here, well, it comes the same for everyone. It's weapon damage, crit chance, crit damage, and then a crit damage mod. For my holster, my second piece of Hunter's Fury here, I have an armor roll. I have 2 armor rolls on the build, and I think 1.1 million is a good threshold to be at for me personally. Whatever you want, you can do there. And then I just have another crit damage mod. Now for the backpack, before we get into this really quickly, I do want to demonstrate that they did in fact nerf the Eclipse backpack, because if they didn't, then Eclipse would be the go-to here, right? Because for an Eclipse backpack, the amplification talent is that amplifies all damage you deal to status affected targets by 30%. Now before TU12, you didn't need to run the 4-piece of Eclipse to proc this bonus, but they have nerfed that. And so to prove that for anyone who doesn't believe me, I will go show that right now in the shooting range. Alright, so we're here in the shooting range because I want to demonstrate that yes, in fact, the Eclipse backpack did get nerfed for TU12. I'm only doing this because I've seen some people already say on other people's posts that this did not actually happen, so I want to demonstrate that it did. So, for consistency's sake, let's set this to an Elite, and we will go for the 5-meter target. Just to show you guys, this is the build that I was just showing off, so it's all the same pieces. This is with Wicked, this is with the Walker one, because I'm just showing the damage on this first. So what I'm going to do is proc the bleed and then watch the meter. I'm going to get a body shot crit, and we're going to base it off of that. And you can see, once I get one, 346,000. It shows up briefly in the damage one, and you can see it on the target. You can pause if you need to, but 346k is a body shot crit with the Wicked setup, alright? So let's kill this target. And then we'll go in here and swap to an Eclipse backpack. Now this isn't a direct one-to-one because I'm losing the brand bonus of the 5% weapon damage, but on this backpack I have weapon damage, and crit chance. So it's actually, I'm gaining some crit damage, losing a little bit of weapon damage, so theoretically it should about even out. So this is pretty close to even on what type of backpack I'm wearing right here. And obviously before TU12, this would make it that as soon as I bleed the target, I would get 30% amplified damage. So regardless of what little discrepancy there is in weapon damage, I would notice if I was getting 30% amplified damage, right? If that was in fact going to work. So let's try it now, just to make sure that worked. Okay, I have that one on. So now let's do the same thing. I'm going to make him bleed, and then watch the body shot crit, 285k. So clearly it's far less than 346 with Wicked, because I'm not getting that amplification talent anymore. You now have to run 4 pieces of Eclipse in order to get that bonus. So yeah, it does not work anymore. Again, one more time, 285k for a body shot crit. Exact same setup, just switch the backpack. So that is definitive. They did nerf the Eclipse. For anyone who was in doubt or in denial, there you go. Sorry to burst your bubble, but it has been nerfed. So yeah, as you can see, that has been nerfed, and that was in the patch notes. That's why I knew, and I just went and tested it to be 100% certain on that. So in the stead of that, what is the next best thing? Well, I think that is the Wicked talent, which is that when you apply a status effect, it increases your total weapon image by 18% for 20 seconds. So I have that here on a Walker backpack. This is the only piece that is not like, fully exactly what I would want. What I would rather have is one piece of Sokolov, which would net me 5% more damage, but it would just only apply to my SMG, but that's pretty much all I use anyway. So I would rather have one piece of Sokolov, and then for the attributes, I'd rather have crit damage instead of headshot damage. But, even with that one fault in the build, this thing is still really, really great. So if you can get a Sokolov backpack that has those rolls, then that would be more ideal, because you're going to get a little bit more benefit out of that. But this is just as good of an alternative. So on here I have weapon damage, headshot damage, again would rather have crit chance, crit damage mod, and Wicked, which is the talent you're going to want. Because again, that means anytime that I hit a target and they start bleeding, I automatically get 38% extra damage because of the Sadist on the gun as well as this. And then if they're in 15 meters, which they have to be for you to apply the bleed, then you get an additional 20% from Hunter's Fury, and you're already basically at like 60% extra damage. So it's really great. It's a build that synergizes together well super greatly. So yeah. And then the next piece is Hunter's Fury Gloves, another armor roll for my second one total, and then a crit chance roll, and then on the knee pads, weapon damage and a crit damage roll. Moving on to my skills, I have the Striker Shield, which, if you know me, I'm not a big shield user, but you kind of just, at some point, you have to succumb to the meta, because nothing is ever going to replace shields in this game. You know, the half shield, the Crusader one, because it's just extra protection, and it's pretty hard to beat. So I am using the Firewall specialization to get the better shield. Now, the nice thing about Firewall, even though they nerfed the lighting people on fire after your armor breaks in PvP, that can no longer happen. What's still nice about it is that the medkit is really nice. Although I like the gunner one with the extra bonus armor, having the buff of the Firewall medkit last over that amount of time, and you get the up to 200% armor, so you can take damage and still out heal it. That's a really nice medkit. And then of course you get this specified shield, which gives you 11% bonus damage per enemy within the cone in front of you. So that's an extra 11% damage, even if you're just 1v1ing someone. That's still a pretty hefty damage bonus, so that's pretty nice. On that shield, I just have shield health in those 2 slots and an extra damage bonus on that 3rd mod. And then I'm running the EMP Sticky Bomb. If you haven't tried this in PvP, it's pretty potent. You could say it's kind of cheesy, but so is a lot of other things in this game. When you hit someone directly, you know, or I think if they're just in the radius, it staggers them. So obviously stagger is pretty lethal in PvP, but as well, it's just really nice for taking out any hives, any other shields, anything like that. So it's a handy tool to have, and it's pretty quick. It's pretty nimble to pull out and shoot. So I like it a lot. If you haven't tried it out, definitely give that one a go. And I think that's about it. I covered that the specialization is the Firewall for that shield. And yeah, guys, that is the build. Like I said, it's really great. It really all synergizes together super well. And as you saw in the clips at the beginning, it just culminates in something that can really just melt through people's armor, even if they're running like 6 blues. As long as they don't have a lot of hazard protection or stuff like that, you're going to be blasting through them super quickly, and it's just a really great setup, especially if you're in a team and you're not taking like 100% of the fire. You're just going to melt people down whenever they get close to you, and it's super great. And that's going to do it, guys, for my TU12 Ridgeway's Pride Hunter Fury and overall just bleeding build. Like I said, this thing is super great. Basically, ever since I made it after the update dropped, I haven't taken it off when I've been in the Dark Zone. It's that good. You know, it's good not only for PvP, but you can just blast through landmarks like you can with a lot of stuff, to be fair. But it's good for that. It's really good for PvP. You're just going to delete people, trust me, once you get all the right setups and you get the bonuses going. As long as you play smart and you maneuver well, you can get a good line of sight, you're going to take people down, even if they have a lot of armor, and that's what it's really good at. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe with notifications on to be updated every time I upload. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on my build here. Have you tried out something similar? Do you think it works well? You know, what are your thoughts on what different pieces I'm using? Let me know all your thoughts on that. I'm very curious. I'm sure some people have given this type of thing a go, so I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. But yeah, guys, I will say one more thing, that in the next few days here, I will be releasing another build video that is actually going to be a pretty interesting one. It's not one that I'm claiming to necessarily be like the best build ever, but it really lets you play in a different kind of playstyle than you might have ever done before. So keep your eye out for that. It's going to be a pretty interesting build, and I think some of you guys might like it a lot. But that being said, thanks again, everyone. Have a great day, and until the next one, guys, RogueGold out.